When you wake up first thing in the morning, are you immediately filled with a sense of excitement and joy and gratitude and disbelief that you're about to go live your dream day surrounded by the people you love the most, doing something that you love, something that feeds your soul, feeds your creative energy, makes you know beyond any shadow of a doubt that you're doing something beautiful and impactful in the world, whatever that means for you, something that will affect other human beings in a profoundly positive, lasting way? Well, or is the first feeling you have in the morning anxiety or a sense of fear or a sense of just exhaustion and lethargy that you have to go and, live another day, just grinding, doing something where you're not quite sure if it's what you're meant to be doing, something that just pays the bills, something that made sense at the time or was exciting at the time, but it's just kind of hit its, a dead end point for you on, your path to really having everything that you dreamed of and wanted when you were your 8-year-old self, that 8-year-old you that wanted a sense of adventure, a sense of excitement, wanted to play and have fun. If your day isn't playful and fun and exciting, and the first thing that happens when you wake up in the morning is just, for me, it's literally a sense of existential dread. Just the idea of living another day, going to the office, calling, trying to sell people health insurance. It's, it fills me with fear because I know that I'm wasting the most precious commodity that we have, time. The absolute most precious thing that we'll never get back is time. And I want to spend my time surrounded by people I love, and I want to spend my time with like-minded people, making their lives better, with the tools that I've found to be able to do that. And that's why, getting this spinal cord injury, I'm a T10 paraplegic, was, the greatest gift of my entire life because it set me upon this journey, this path. I started out with all the esoteric stuff, the stem cells, the pulsed electrical magnetic field therapy, the red light therapy. That was where I was devoting all of my research and my attention because I vowed to be able to walk again. I knew that I could figure out how to heal spinal cord injury 100% and get my life back. But I knew it was going to be incredibly difficult. And I started looking at all of the newest, latest technologies. And then I kind of realized, first, I have to get the financial means to afford these things. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is, if I am not sick, in pain, struggling, and barely able to move or function in my life. And so I started focusing on health and fitness and on anti-inflammatory diets and the perfect diet for me. And then I overcame a bunch of health issues and had to learn everything about the gut to fix my own gut problems. And that's a whole nother can of worms, many more videos, lots of podcast interviews with people to keep unraveling that because we're just at the, very frontier of figuring the complexity of the gut out. And I started to, look into supplementation and mineral and vitamin ratios inside the body, realizing that in order to heal something that is as multifaceted and complex as a spinal cord injury, I was going to, throw the kitchen sink at it. But I kept coming up against these barriers, these mental barriers, or just an inability to stay disciplined, an inability to stay consistent. I kept losing my eye on the prize mentality and was just fighting this constant battle really against myself. And lo and behold, over the course of another couple years of just immense suffering, inability to gain traction, inability to even have the money and financial security necessary to really focus fully on healing and what I needed, I finally concluded that I had started at the complete wrong end of the spectrum. I started with the stuff that moves the needle once you have everything else in line. I guess it'd be better to imagine it as a pyramid. I was starting at the top of the pyramid, the special, exciting treatments that allow you to just push the boundaries of what you're already doing. But what I discovered was the absolute foundation of that pyramid was, no argument possible, a spiritual and emotional and mental basis from which you could layer everything else on. A feeling, a pervasive emotional state that would allow you to have the discipline, the perseverance, and just the willpower to do all of the other things required to make it happen. All the research, all the work, all of the just piecing together a complex system of healing. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that there was no way I was going to be able to, actually achieve full function of my body, feeling, walking, and everything without figuring out the foundation of this thing. And for me, it definitely started with a combination of spirituality and just fixing my complete and total emotional dysregulation. And spirituality helped in the sense of I had always held on to like a 1% doubt. I was pretty, kind of agnostically spiritual. I thought, there's got to be something out there. That's the only thing that made sense to me. But I still held on to a little bit of doubt that maybe we are just, chance material beings from a series of billions of years of chemical reactions. And as soon as I let that go, got rid of that idea, and I accepted beyond any shadow of a doubt, but by just testing different theories and belief systems, eventually I fully took in and acted in every single action, thought, like there was a eternal creative force that permeates and creates everything, and I am a piece of that force that was created for a purpose, and that I myself am an eternal spiritual being, and my job in this physical realm is to learn and to grow on specific challenges that my eternal spiritual self wanted to learn through the lens of a very, damaged and just weak ego. And by doing that, that gave me just a tremendous amount of positive attitude, excitement, hope. It got rid of this underlying fear that I didn't even know was there, which was just a fear of death and the pointlessness of everything. It got rid of that completely, which then allowed me to start, seriously and honestly making analysis of where I was at mentally and emotionally. And what I discovered was horrifying. I was a complete and total wreck. I mean, just emotionally dysregulated. Without a doubt, I would easily have fit into multiple categories of psychiatric illness, definitely hardcore ADHD, potentially something akin to bipolar or antisocial personality disorder with some paranoid tendencies alongside that as well, and just intense narcissism, just such critical focus on myself that I was unable to see things accurately, I guess. And as soon as I discovered that, I was like, okay, this is the second layer of the pyramid, and nothing can happen. None of these other things can really make strides in the right direction consistently over time in the way that they need to, unless I sort out this emotional garbage that I have going on. So for the first time in my life, I actually went and I sought out a therapist and just went in there with full conviction to root this stuff out, fix it once and for all, get rid of the limiting beliefs, and just figure out what was going on in there. And it was transcendent, absolutely, without a doubt, the best time and money I've spent doing anything in my entire life. And it was so easy. And I've only been doing it for maybe 6-7 months now. I've got a fantastic therapist I see once a week. We do like EMDR tapping and just normal talk therapy. And through their lens, with the bravery and my own courage to go in and be completely honest and tell them things that I never thought I would ever tell another human being for as long as I lived, the tightest locked in secrets that I was so ashamed of. And in doing that, I was able to, start breaking that shame apart, start breaking out, bring it up and start getting it to flow out of my body. And the real catalyst and kind of, I don't know, maybe the point behind this video is to find that spiritual foundation and then to have the courage, willingness, and insight to know that the next step in the process for me was undoubtedly the emotional dysregulation and the trauma and all of the stuff that goes along with that was just limiting my own potential so much. The only way I could even get to all of that was through breath work, through the intentional, regular practice of a whole host of different breath work techniques and ideas. And I started with an absolute phenomenal video. It's called Beyond Love by Johannes Egberts, a friend of mine from Australia. It's on YouTube, Beyond Love. Cannot recommend it enough. No other singular piece of content or music or anything that I've ever done will have had a more pronounced, just complete and total reconfiguration of the path that I was on in life. Through that breath work, I was able to access these parts of myself with complete clarity, without the cloud of judgment that my ego has. I was able to access these parts of me and see that I was rejecting them, hating them, just absolutely denying their ability to exist. And it was heartbreaking. I mean, I was in my sauna doing this breathwork session, which apparently is not recommended, but I love doing it in the sauna. And I fully, when I saw this part of myself, this rejected, beaten, tortured, just attacked part of me, it broke my heart. I mean, I actually broke down crying and I was just sobbing, and it was just this huge, intense emotional release that all of the pain and misery and everything that I had, felt in my life and blamed on externalities. As soon as I get this much money and my day looks like this and I have this relationship and whatever, then I'll be able to be happy. But that wasn't the case at all. I had been intentionally and intensely just abusing myself. I mean, my self-talk was atrocious. If I had been doing that to another person, I mean, I would be classified as an abusive psychopath. It was so bad. And it really broke my heart that this, part of me, this inner child that I discovered, was just in there, shaking, abused, scared. And the way that I was able to exist despite that happening, and as I had successfully completely suppressed my ability to feel fear. For a long period of time, I had no fear of death. I had no fear of losing people I loved. I had no fear of anything, really. I had so effectively classed this part of myself as negative and bad and unworthy of love or attention that, I just completely killed it every time it came up. And a part of this, whatever this is, this inner child, a part of that was the experience of fear. And anytime that came up, if I was about to jump off a 70-foot cliff or just do whatever I was about to do that could have risk to my life. For 10 plus years, I would just kill that inner bitch. Any experience of fear at all, I deemed as unacceptable and pathetic and not something I was going to do. And so I just shut it down. But what I didn't realize was that fear wasn't the only thing that inner child had to offer. Inside it as well was all of my uniqueness and creativity, and it was all the things that I found most joy in, being able to honestly figure out what those things are. Without this part of myself and with this rejected part of myself in there, I wasn't able to make honest analysis of what I was supposed to be doing, what was important, what was the next step to making my dreams a reality. And it's an absolute tragedy. I fucking wasted away, 20 years of my life, all from one, traumatic event that happened to me, I don't even know exactly when, but maybe between like 9 and 11 years old. And it had less happened to me than, was caused by me. But this traumatic event kind of was the mark of the beast in my own mind on that part of myself that caused me to just attack it in the way that I did. And I really did waste 20 years. I've done a lot of cool stuff. I've cycled through Africa. I've traveled extensively in Australia and in, a little bit in Bali and New Zealand and around Europe a little bit. And I've met so many fantastic people, had amazing adventures. I've done all sorts of cool extreme sports and just had a ton of great experiences. The waste is that I was always running away. I was always trying to escape, or at the very least, I was just trying to, trying to have the most intense moments of beauty and just excitement and challenge, so that I wouldn't, I could distract myself from this just gaping hole of pain that was inside me. And it really was, I wouldn't change anything for the world. I wouldn't alter one single thing that's happened. Even my most heinous mistakes that I feel horribly guilty for, and all the mistreating of people that I've done, and all the pain, all of that, I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for that and trying to, kind of make all of the good that I'm doing, outweigh all of the pain that I'm caused. But the bottom line is, the whole time having these experiences and being with these amazing people that I've met throughout the years, there was always a static anxiety, just an anxiety inside me, looking for the next thing, the next place, making the experience more intense, making it more dangerous, making it harder, making it whatever, just so that, I could feel alive, or so that I could maybe mask, I don't know exactly, maybe mask, that anxiety that was there. And it was, it is tragic, because I won't ever get that time back. It's even more tragic when you think, I'm in a wheelchair now, and a lot of those really incredible experiences are currently completely off limits and unattainable. They're things that I can't even access now, and I may never be able to access again. I don't believe that. I think I'm going to figure it out, but there's a chance that never happens. And with that, it makes it even sadder that while those things were happening, my lack of self-work when I was younger made me unable to really enjoy them as they were. But, you can't have regrets, because who knows, if I hadn't been miserable, maybe I never would have pushed myself to all of those interesting and fantastic places. But point I'm trying to make is, if you really want to have every single morning the first feeling that you feel when you wake up, that in just a rush of gratitude and excitement and just joy that you get to live the life that you've curated and created for yourself, then the first step is to, get a spiritual basis. Decide, it doesn't matter. I'm of the opinion that it doesn't matter where you start. Whatever resonates with you, whatever is going to give you the belief that you're an eternal spiritual being who is here to learn, and that you have access to infinite power, love, understanding of a creative source, and a creative, intelligent source that made you, that is you. I really do think that to consistently take the actions necessary to achieve peace, that spirituality is the foundation of it. And then stop wasting time. Stop saying, when I get to X place, then I'm going to deal with all this emotional stuff. Then I'm going to look at all those childhood traumas. I'm going to look at why my relationships are turbulent and don't feed me. They actually exhaust me, and I don't feel like I can communicate properly or be understood. Well, I promised, I was the biggest resistor to therapy and group therapy and everything. And it's a travesty that I didn't just go and seek help from knowledgeable individuals, because it's easier than you think. Getting in there and rooting out it's easier and harder than you think, in the sense of, it's easier, they're probably not as complex and crazy. It's probably happened to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of other people in a very similar way. And super smart people, way smarter than me, have, figured out all the subtleties of it, what causes it, and, how to start unraveling that and unwinding it. And for the bottom line is just, seek the help that you need. I've been seeing, I've been going to group therapy recently, even, which I had unfathomable resistance to, the Addicts Anonymous type stuff, and that's been groundbreaking. I read the book Heal the Child Within by Charles Whitfield, and it was just such a compelling argument for why group therapy, in the context and with the structure of the 12-step program, is a phenomenal way to just to break through on things that are causing you pain, or things that are limiting you in some capacity. I want to get the maximum out of life, and I'm just not going to allow my ego or the idea that I'm tough or that I'm strong enough to do it on my own to get in the way of making myself the person that I want to be. Don't know how eloquently I said that. I was kind of thinking about my dogs for a second there, so I lost train of thought. But let's just kind of leave it at that. One thing I will say is, start with breath work if you want to do it on your own and you're just not willing to seek, spiritual, emotional, or mental guidance from other people. I urge you start with breath work right away. Make it a regular practice. I love the Breath Source app. It's just an app you get on your phone. I don't know what it costs. I think it's like $60 a year, like $11 a month or something like that. But it's got a ton of breathwork videos on there from all sorts of different practitioners. One that I love for the morning time is one by a podcaster and a guy named Ben Greenfield. And it's called the Morning Spiritual Disciplines Practice. And it's short. It's like 10, 11 minutes. It's some relaxing breathing, it's some energizing breathing, and then just some thoughts about, how you're going to show up in the world today, and about, connecting with the source, whatever that is for you. I am yet undefined in exactly what it is for me. I absolutely love Christianity. I want to learn everything about it. I don't know a lot about the Bible yet, but I think that is one of the best blueprints and scaffolding for a human being to create an amazing life. I absolutely love Buddhism. I was raised kind of half Buddhist, half Christian, 10% Catholic. I had a lot of kind of spiritual influence in my life when I was younger, and I think that they all have tremendous value in different ways. I do think that what I'm starting to believe, which I never thought I would say this, is I do think that a lot of, especially like the Eastern mysticism and stuff, is great for really unlocking a lot of potential inside yourself and everything, but for maximum effect and benefit, I think that Christianity kind of takes the cake. And like I said, I was, just the word Jesus would make me cringe. It still kind of makes me cringe. So many people that, over the course of a lifetime who were hardcore Jesus people just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It was too intense. It was too forced upon me rather than letting me unravel and discover it all for myself. But whether or not, you take the hardcore route of believing that, Jesus was resurrected and is absolutely the Son of God, I think even if you don't take that route, I think that understanding that he was, without a doubt, an incredible mystic philosopher who did unravel kind of the most perfect and beautiful path towards, self-actualization and just peace in general. So I'm still on that journey myself. I'm by no means saying I figured it out, but yeah, that was me talking about breath work. But I will be, just a note at the end here, we'll be publishing this book very soon. That is my really kind of my confession, just the outpouring of the most the secrets and the parts of myself that I deemed unworthy of love, and so I hid them from everyone, including myself, for a long time there. And so that's something fantastic to look out for. And also, I will be getting certified and learning everything about breath work, because that is the next chapter of my life. I'm going to become a breathwork instructor and a practitioner, and I'm going to teach people how to utilize their breath to, do whatever it is they want, whether it's take control of their autonomic nervous system and reach, states of deep meditation so that they can heal, whether it's to extricate trauma from their body. I want to get, as certified as I can in freediving. I can't be a freediving instructor according to the current kind of regulations and everything around the licensing system in freediving, just because I can't perform with the paralysis. I can't perform some of the necessary rescue activities for shallow water blackout, which I'm totally cool with. I think I could do some of the breath training. I just don't know if I can be a legitimate instructor taking people out freediving, because it would just be too much of a risk, which is totally understandable. But those are the things to really look out for if you're a follower of the channel, if you're interested. If you have any questions, follow me on Instagram. You can DM me there. Follow me on, I don't check Facebook at all. Instagram's the best way, to be honest. Or, leave a comment here. and we can always set up something. And I'm happy, I'm not exactly an influencer or having any crazy, success on here where I'm so busy that I can't pay it forward and help anyone out. If you have questions, just need some advice, or anything like that, please try to find a way to get a hold of me, and I'd be, I would definitely be happy to help. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna go watch an Orlando Magic's NBA game down at the Kia Center, and see you guys soon. Lots of love, and bye-bye for now.